heard this conversation right now and just read that paragraph, I would understand them having heartburn.
So if I can ask council a question, if I add that in there, that it is only at the approval of the chief of police, and does that beef that up enough for you? Because I'm worried that too much detail would kind of drown out a little bit of it too, right? So.
Agree. Sometimes you don't, you're right, agree. I would be okay with that.
Okay.
I'm being okay with that small adjustment. I think you got what you need there.
Okay, I can make those adjustments. And then would council like to see this back at next meeting?
That'd be fine, probably not on consent though.
Okay. All right, we can make that happen. Thank y'all.
Thank you
Anything
very
else you need from me?
I think we're good.
All right, thank you.
Sir. Appreciate it. And at this time, item 11A, 11B, we now invite Town Manager Zudema to the podium for 11B.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm sorry, I got turned off in between. Coming back to you tonight with a resolution asking you to approve a lease for the relocation and expansion of the senior center. Can you bring up the document with red line, please? So as background for the audience and for anyone that is listening live or watches this later, again, we established a senior center in 2020 at McCrimmon Corner Shopping Center. That senior center is just over 3,000 square feet of space. So again, over 3,000 square feet, that is operated almost continuously with some COVID exceptions since that time. Shortly after operations began, I think the staff became aware that the space was limiting, not only because of its layout, but because of the size of that space, and that there was interest in expansion of that space. So beginning in 2025, we negotiated with Westwood Financial, who is the leasing agent for that shopping center, to discuss expansion. Originally, we had reached agreement to expand into the two spaces adjacent to the existing senior center as you move towards what was the Harris Teeter Shopping Center. A lease was agreed to and signed for that would bring that senior center space up to almost 5,500 square feet. And then that would be, the plan was that we would be designing that, which we did. And then as we completed design, we were notified by the leasing agent that they were going to be unable to provide that space to us until 2028. And that was related to the new business that was coming into the Harris Teeter space. So at that point, earlier this year was when we learned that information. We backpedaled a little bit and began a conversation with the leasing agent about alternatives. And they came to us and identified what is currently, or what was until it closed, the Petland store space, which is within that same shopping center. That business is not going to be there. They've apparently gone out of business and will be leaving the space. So that space was available. That space is just over 5,500 square feet. So very, very similar to what we would have had with the expansion at the existing space. Beyond that, there was some real opportunity there that we didn't have at the other space because it was an expansion. That was a little bit of square peg into round hole, the best we could to maneuver that space. It wouldn't have overcome the walking in front of potentially in a class or going through a class to get to another room. So this building gives us more flexibility in how we structure it. We believe it'll give us two large spaces that can then be opened up into one even larger space if needed. Again, it has full glass windows, but not facing the sun during the day, so we won't have the excessive heat in the front of the building. But it lets in more daylight. It's a much higher ceiling, which makes it feel like a bigger space. I think it's more welcoming in that regard, and it's able to be laid out better than what the other space would have been able to. It gives us a little more flexibility in that regard, and ultimately probably a little more working space and classroom space. So when I first spoke to you, we were working on finalizing an agreement there. You had expressed some question, particularly around the ability to secure some additional parking there, and what would happen in terms of when rent would commence, and then also what would happen if rent commenced at the new space while we still had to be in the old space. So the lease that I've shared with you tonight, I believe addresses all of your concerns. So the lease that I've presented you is a 59-month lease. There is an option for the town to consider an additional 59-month lease if we were to so choose to. The cost of that lease will be approximately $233,000 annually. It is within $3,000 of what the other space would have been because it's such a similar amount of square footage, which is what that's based on for lease rate, and then also the CAM rent rate each month for the community accessible space. In addition to that, the leaseor, Westwood has agreed to give us 8 months from the time of lease signing until rent commencement. That's normally a 90-day window. We've negotiated 8 months of that, 240 days of that. We have also worked with them to negotiate that if for any reason we are not able to be in the new space when the rent commences, that the rent at the existing space will reduce to $1,000 a month for any time we need to remain in that space while we're paying rent on the new space. So that was one of the things I think you expressed some question about or concern about last time. So was able to negotiate on that down to $1,000 a month. So with that, we also negotiated the ability to add additional ADA accessible parking in front of the building, along with marking other spaces, additional spaces reserved for senior center parking. Again, an advantage there that if you park in those ADA accessible spots, you walk right onto a sidewalk through a curb cut in that immediate vicinity. There's no more crossing what is almost a main thoroughfare in the shopping center there in front of the existing space. We have had very preliminary conversations, but we believe the Smart Shuttle stop can be moved closer to the senior center for those that use it. Again, it's not a heavily used means of transportation to get there now. That could improve as we continue to improve Smart Shuttle service, but we believe that can move over there as well. And so again, also as a reminder, earlier this evening on consent, you approved the build method for this space. So that is going to allow the engineering department to get started with formal design work for this space, so we can be through that as quickly as we can, and then we'd be able to get into the new space, ideally around that 8-month time frame. But again, if we have to go beyond that, it would only be an additional $1,000 a month to hold the existing space and continue to meet there. Again, and that just from the context of, that's also an advantage of we can just build this and then they can come when it's ready rather than trying to work in the same space they are or immediately adjacent to where the seniors are. So we think that's also an advantage. Happy to take any questions.
Councilmember Johnson to begin, then Councilmember Scroggins Johnson.
So thank you, Brandon, for bringing this and for confirming a lot of those details that we had asked about. And I had mentioned this to you when we spoke yesterday, but please share all these details with the Senior Advisory Committee, especially the parking issues. Those were some concerns they had as well. So now that we've confirmed all that, and then the fact that there'll be designated spots for this senior center, I think is going to be, they'll receive very well by them. But if you can make sure that all this is shared with them so that they know, and then going forward, maybe on their agenda, it doesn't have to be every month, every other month, but it's some consistent kind of cycle, give them updates as to what's happening.
Absolutely. I think we can, once, in the design component, they'll be seeing that. They'll be able to give a little bit of feedback on the design component once that's finalized. We can certainly, once they really are in there working, we could certainly give them, if nothing else, monthly photo updates of how it's coming along and what we estimate timelines to be. We're of course happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Councilmember Scroggins Johnson, please.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to Town Manager Zuderman and the staff, because this has been something that has been needed for a while, and we had a great opportunity to expand it next door, and that kind of fell through with the changing of Harris Teeter tenancy and so forth like that, caused a cascade of interesting circumstances. And this potential new space, the Petland space, is on a corner. It's more visible to the street. I think it's going to be more attractive overall to the seniors as well because of the expansion. One of the things that, as I'm thinking about the design of the new space, I like the fact that you have two small spaces that you can expand into a larger space for larger events and so forth. With that in mind, there's also a need for storage. Now, the current space has very limited storage, so don't forget the storage is something, you know, whenever you go into new spaces, you have everything laid out, but a little larger storage closet might be good so that we can grow into that, you know, new kind of space. Because I have heard a lot of feedback from seniors about not being able to store decorations or certain activity items that they want to have stored on site. It has to be stored off site due to limited availability. But very excited to get this approved tonight. Hopefully.
Or September 8th. But yes, understand.
No, I said it right. Thank you so much.
I look forward to the new space. I like the idea that it will be larger. Just want to also say pickleball and table tennis. Those are things that I know the seniors really do enjoy, and to be able to do that indoors would be great. So no promises, just a thought. I already got you. And now Councilmember Kessling, please.
I just wanted to say thanks for all the hard work on, what's the saying, the making lemonade out of lemons? Yeah. And being able to transition into this new space. It's a nicer space. It seems it will be, and it'll be open, well, I guess maybe not sooner, but it's not going to be delayed. So thank you.
Thank you. Great team effort, spans multiple departments, public works, parks, finance, admin, engineering, so lots of folks involved with this.
And Councilmember Johnson has another thought.
So I'm sorry, I just need to say thank you, Brandon. Brandon was present along with a lot of our staff at the last Senior Advisory Committee meeting, and you and Kitty and others that were there did a fabulous job. And the feedback I got was it was very much appreciated that the staff was there to answer their questions. And as difficult as this is, because this is not what we all wanted, we wanted to be in a new senior center just about now or by the end of this year. Thank you, because you did a great job, Brandon, explaining to the group, and they very much appreciate that and understand. And I think they are going to be happier in the end.
I
Although
think
it's
so.
taking a little longer, let's hope we don't go through this again. But just thank you. You did a fabulous job.
And if I could, Mayor, one quick thing I didn't mention in terms of finances for this. So the other piece, that because I think it's fair to acknowledge Westwood, is they did give us not only the TIA, the tenant improvement allowance that we would normally get, which is in the neighborhood of $83,000 to help with our upfit. They also agreed to $50,000 additional because we had invested that in design at the original location. So with that, you may recall the original budget for this was $850,000. So we spent 50 of that, so that left us at 8, but we're going to get 130 in TIA, including that 50 back. So that puts us at about 932, 933. And in talking with finance, we can cover the remaining 67-ish to get to $1 million out of interest earned on this account. And again, right now, the ROM, and I want to say that again, the rough order of magnitude, no one has designed anything, estimate is $1 million. And again, because of the method of design, build, bridging we're using, we can ensure that we stay to that budget. And then as that gets designed, we'll be back to you and we'll share that with you. And if there are things you want to consider otherwise, we can certainly do that with you, but that's where we stand today.
Excellent. Lots of great work, and we value all of our residents, but all of us have been to the senior center and we enjoy our time there. So we look forward to being continuing to go there for a while and then going to the new place. Councilmember Scroggs Johnson.
If we don't make a motion to approve tonight, would this go on consent for the gate?
It's not asked to be approved tonight, but it can probably go on consent for the 8th, I believe.
So I think you're certainly welcome to take action tonight. You know, we've discussed it previously. Normally, we don't bring it back for discussion and then take action. I think action on September 8th on consent is fine, because again, when you approve, hopefully, the resolution, that's authorizing me to sign the lease. I will not sign that lease until the space is empty and we can walk in the door to begin working. So that could give us another month-ish of additional time where we really might have 9 months before that rent commences. So I think, again, that's to our advantage. That depends on how quickly Petland exits the building.
Okay, all good? Excellent. Thank you very much to the whole team. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And to the senior advisory committee and all the seniors. Okay, for a full listing of our upcoming town events, please see the town calendar at www.morrisvillenc.gov. We're now at council comments. I'll share first, followed by Mayor Pro Tem Rabati. First, I want to again express our gratitude to Sergeant Steve Bailey on his retirement. I was there for his final 1042 call earlier this month, and it was a moment filled with emotion and admiration. What stood out most from those who spoke was Sergeant Bailey's unwavering integrity, a legacy that will remain with our community and our police department. We wish them all the best in his next chapter. I also want to thank our staff for their extraordinary effort this week and leading up to this week. It was supporting multiple meetings in close succession, including tonight's council meeting. Your dedication as a team and preparation made all this possible, and we truly appreciate the time and energy that you all give to Morrisville. As the days grow shorter, I encourage everyone to enjoy our greenways and parks. I had the chance to participate in the 5K this past weekend from Cedar Fork District Park to Morrisville Community Park and back. And even though the race started at an ambitious 7:30 a.m., I told them it should be later in the future. It was a wonderful reminder of all the natural beauty and community spirit that we're fortunate to have here in Morrisville. And now I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Rabati.
No comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Scotty Johnson, followed by Councilmember Garamella.
No comment, thank you.
Councilmember Garamella, followed by Councilmember Johnson.
I just want to thank the staff for, this weekend summer retreat. It was pretty good, and you guys did a fabulous job, and it's not easy to have the entire staff and the directors to be there present. Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson, followed by Councilmember Patel.
So I too want to say thank you to staff for Saturday and to my fellow council members for taking the time away from family and friends and all the other obligations we have in our life to be there on Saturday. So thank you for that. And then for all those that are starting a new school year, congratulations, and we wish you a successful and safe school year.
Councilmember Patel, followed by Councilmember Kessler.
So I also want to thank all staff members that were there on site for the retreat and presenting the material. That was very insightful for myself. And also want to thank, I did not comment during the last presentation for the senior center, but I want to thank all staff to put in, quite a bit of time and effort to come up with the solution that we currently have. So thank you.
Councilmember Kessler, please.
Thank you for the retreat. It's very insightful. Congrats to Sergeant Bailey, and that's my comments.
Town Manager Zudema, do you have anything for the good of the order?
Briefly. Thank you all as well for Saturday. I thought that was there was a lot of candor, there was a lot of good conversation. I think it was a very good first step towards an FY28 budget, so thank you. We're very appreciative of that as well. I do want to thank the leadership team. They, with few exceptions, that just had other prior commitments before we picked the date. They all showed up. They all had smiles on their face. I didn't hear a moan or a groan. They recognized the value of being there and contributing to that. And we were talking about it. I think almost every leadership team member that was there offered something to contribute to the conversation as well. So I think that was a very unique opportunity. I'm very appreciative that they don't hesitate, they don't ooh-nah, they just say yes, and let's get this done. I also want to specifically call out a young man, Michael McCray, in our financial services department. So we took a chance on him and he just soared, I thought. I thought he was fantastic. He was very confident. He had a lot of good information. So really complimentary of and appreciative of Micah for his work in that as well. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, I entertain a motion and a second to adjourn this evening's meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Mayor Potem Rabadi and a second from
I'll second.
Councilmember Johnson. That's kind of the teamwork that's working tonight. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously. 7-0. It is 8:35. We are adjourned. Thank you. See you on Thursday.